Hello Taurus and welcome to your January 21 horoscope forecast for the Sun or the Ascendant. If you've yet to subscribe to my channel, I'd be honoured if you did so now. Please let me briefly tell you about my year 2021 personal horoscope special offer. Based on your unique birth data of time, date and place, rise above, ascend above your zodiac sign and discover what this year holds. A seminal year for us all. And this is going to be in the form of a 12-month forecast and a character analysis and that special offer, that discounted 30% off. Please see the link below. So of course, the big news as we crash into this new year is that Saturn and also Jupiter are now in the sign of Aquarius. What does Aquarius energy mean for you? Well, it's about success. It's about your role in life. It's about how people view you in terms of their respect for you. It's about your standing, your goals, your ambitions. It's about where you're going to take responsibilities or give orders. It's about where you may want to test yourself out. It can be about authority. It could be about becoming a parent, or it could be what you're going to experience more keenly from your own parents. So I feel generally, one of the things that I feel that's going to happen for you in 2021 is that you're going to come into the limelight more. If you're ready for that, you can thrive. If it's something you feel more tentative about, it could take a little bit of adjustment, because one of the things that I think has been happening for you over the last few years, really since 2008, has been a growing need to kind of change up parts of your existence. But that's been competing with that other part of your nature which really would prefer to keep the status quo, because you're a fixed sign and stability and security naturally make you feel safe, and that things have a certain certainty about them. Two certain certainties there, sorry. And of course what's come in to the mix is the role of Uranus, which first moved into your sign in May 2018 through till October, November that year, was in a clash with Mars for much of that period that was in Aquarius. So if you think back to that time, I think some of this first 7 months of 2021 and some of this month are going to be a little bit of a reflection of what happened then, if you cast back your mind. Because Uranus is going to be in a square with Jupiter this month. Let's think about the principles of Uranus. Uranus is about change, it's about freedom, independence, rebelliousness, authenticity, truth. In your sign, it's making us think much more seriously about the Earth planet, because your sign is ruled by Earth. And you're very much to do with the foundations in the Zodiac, the second Zodiac sign as you are. So if we put Jupiter in a much more idealistic sign of Aquarius than it was in its full in the sign of Capricorn, it's asking you to find your success. But I think the pivot between the two is asking you to be even more authentic. And if you're someone who tends to run a little bit on the traditional side, and perhaps you like to follow the rules and regulations, it gives you a sense of feeling comfortable and you like to know where you stand, I feel it could be you who strangely pushes back against some of the things that in the past you may have held really dear. And that can be an exciting process, but it also can inevitably be one that is challenging you at times. And then, of course, we've got Saturn in the mix as well. And both Saturn and the Sun come into a conjunction within 3 degrees, so 3 single degrees of an orb. And that happens in week 4 of this month, where they're squaring up with Uranus in your sign as well. So you'll need to be authentic, original, innovative, different, perhaps within yourself, could have an implication on your relationships with those that have an expectation of how you should be. That could be a boss, it could be a parent, it could be your kids, weirdly. Something's going to get shook up this month or shook up this year. It's just inevitable, because broadly speaking, Saturn and Uranus are going to be in a bit of a tumble through to the 7th month of the year. So I feel it's something that you need to sort of grapple with the awareness that you may change some things that you've actually clung to quite tightly in the past, even if you know it is really stepping into the unknown, if it is scary, but it could give you a sense of feeling really alive and really stimulated and a greater sense of spontaneity. If we live our lives always as safely or as routinely as that well-worn pair of slippers, yes, they're very comfortable, but maybe they get a bit stale. Sorry if it's not a great metaphor, particularly if you're sensitive about smells, and I do apologise. But seriously, this can be a pivotal opportunity for you. Now, of course, it depends on where Uranus is sitting in your natal chart, your nativity, of how keenly you're going to feel this. And if you are born right at the start of Taurus, I feel that the square that's going to come from Saturn and Jupiter, it really is going to be shaking up your reality, just like Uranus has been over the last couple of years, but particularly since March the 19th, March the 7th, I beg your pardon, 2019. Now, the other thing that happens at the turn of this year is that near to the turn of the year, anyway, on the 7th, is that Mars enters your sign, and it's going to give you an opportunity, being in your sign, to be very dynamic, particularly around the 18th or 19th, because as it combines with Uranus, this really can see you being much more forceful about asserting the kind of wild, more uninhibited, stripped down, risk-taking side of your nature. Fantastic stuff, you know, it's really going to be exciting. Also, we do have a opposition between the Moon and Saturn as the turn of the year begins, so balancing those worldly desires and what feels safe and secure can be a bit of a theme for the whole of 21. Venus is also squaring up with Neptune. Now, Venus is actually in a very sensual location for you. If there's someone you're attracted to in your friendship group this month, it could really get your imagination going. In fact, Venus at the turn of the year is trining up broadly with Mars. Mars at that point still tucked away in your 12th house of secrets. Is there going to be some kind of fascination with someone that you can't be completely honest or open about it? Perhaps don't have any desire to be. Some kind of sexual infatuation might be possible. But it is true to say that on the 7th and 8th, not only does Mars move into Taurus on the 7th, also on the 8th, Mercury moves into Aquarius and your ruler moves into Capricorn. So they're in a semi-sextile, which is pretty good. So Mercury's emphasizing that need for recognition, but Venus in Capricorn is seeing you as the truth seeker. Quite sensual, that transit, though. But all through this month, Jupiter and Uranus in a square. Jupiter's about pushing outside. It's being more risk-taking, more abandoned, happy-go-lucky sometimes. Some astrologers might even characterize Jupiter occasionally as being jovial. I mean, planets don't go around saying, do you know, I really feel cheerful today. But it is interesting, the metaphors that we use. But I understand why, because it's more carefree. And on the 13th, we have a new moon in your sister Earth sign of Capricorn, which combines with Pluto. So this is a real sort of throwback to the energies of the last couple of years. And if there is something you're really determined to change, it could be about living overseas, it could be about higher education, you could be a trainer or a trainee in an educational context, and this particular new moon can be very potent for you. Something can change. Perhaps you're going to push something so it does fundamentally change, even if it feels hugely scary. Because, do you know, with Pluto, sometimes if we don't change things that maybe we should, it'll change them for us. I think Pluto is the most incredibly fascinating energy of all in astrology. It we have to work with it. If we resist it, it's not a great thing to do. And when we do resist it, it changes it anyway for us, whether we like it or not. So very powerful new moon, but it could give you the extra confidence and drive to really go for it. Then on the 19th, the sun returns to Aquarius really early this year. Sometimes it's the 20th, very often it is the 21st. So it really comes back round early this year. And that again is that issue of fraternity, but it's linking almost immediately with Saturn. So if you're in a job where you don't really like your boss very much, or you don't find the work particularly gratifying, you may call it a day. But you know, as much as Saturn gets absolutely panned by many of us, do you know, I've noticed when I work with clients that very often when Saturn moves over a cusp or a critical planet, it's when success comes. Be open-minded. Don't see it as really scary terry. It can be very positive. So if you've been working incredibly hard, particularly if you have been educating yourself or widening your horizons over the last couple of years, some kind of transition can come in the 3rd, 4th week of January that can absolutely delight you. Now on the 28th, there is a full moon in Leo, and this kind of emphasizes the opposition between Saturn and the moon that we have at the turn of the year. So it's the 4th, 10th house axis, and again, it's possible that if you're really going for it in that work situation, there may be something at home that feels neglected, or maybe your own time to have rest and recuperation is limited, or maybe someone close to you is not quite so happy that you're receiving this acclaim and approval because they'd rather that you were sticking to the old routines of being very Metatronic in providing support services for everyone else. I think you may be really rebelling against that. I really do, especially if you feel you've got untapped talents that aren't being manifested as well as they could. Now, on the 30th, we have the first of the retrogrades of this year. They're all going to be in air signs, and you know that is something to absolutely celebrate. Last year, we had 3 muddle puddles, 3 retrogrades in water signs, with 2 of them going back into air signs in the guise of Gemini and Libra. But this year it's exclusively air. And you might think, yeah, but I'm earth and air. True, but it is about logic more. So this one suggests that if you're applying for a job, or there's discussions about work, or something is transiting around your work, there could be a period of recalibration. Obviously that's going to actually begin before the 30th in the shadow period anyway, but you're really going to feel it from the 30th, and I'll tell you more about that as we thread our way into February. So what I feel for you, Taurus, is there is this opportunity to really achieve much greater profile, to be much more single-minded about your talents. If you're really serious about taking on more responsibility, rising up the ladder of success, it's going to come your way, but it may create some uncomfortable changes, or it could be that you just really want to tear down something that's been so safe, so predictable, that it has become so utterly unstimulating that some kind of move or transition is just so evocative, you have to go for it. It's been a real pleasure being with you. Please stay safe. Please check out my year 2021 personal horoscope special offer. Please see the link beneath this video. But for now, good luck and goodbye.